I think I really want to really appreciate the organizers of this event. I was here yesterday. Apparently, I'm told that about 13,000 people registered. Really good to be here. It's really good to have something for data people in London. This is my second year speaking, and I'm really enjoying it. It's one of my highlights of the year. So my name is Abel. I am passionate about data management. I love the profession, and I want each of you in this room to actually strive and win. And that's the reason why I'm speaking to you today. Studied in University of Lincoln. I went to Strathclyde Business School up in Glasgow, where I studied human resource management. So just in case you think that people from HR can't really be in data, I'm one of them, okay? But more importantly, today is going to be a great day. I hope you're going to get something out of this session. And yeah, feel free to let me know how you feel about it after the end of it. How many of you have heard the word data trenches? You can raise up your hands. Okay, fantastic. How many of you got scars to show for it? Okay, great. I'm going to say for those of you that have not heard the word data trenches and those of you that don't have scars to show for it, please, before you leave this conference, I really want you to speak to people that have gone into the trenches. The way I best describe data management is like a war zone. We get deployed and we get redeployed as well. So think about like soldiers. I don't know how many of you where you are right now in your organization. It just feels like war. Every day is a hassle. Some people say it's not sexy. Yes, it's not. But I think for you to survive as a soldier, there are a couple of things you need to think about. And one of the key things is not about the strategy. It's about the people you're with. It's about the habits that you yourself has built over the years that can help you survive. So when I think about data management, in order for you to strive and win, there are some key things you need to be aware of. And that would really help you, because data trenches is a thing. It's not a myth. It exists. And once you're in, you definitely have wartime stories as well. So that's the reason why it's very important. I'm going to introduce you to a guy called Pradeep. And I really want you to watch this video. Can you hear the sound as well?
दौड़ते हुए क्यों जा रहे हो? दौड़ते हुए क्यों जा रहे हो? कहाँ से कहाँ काम करते हो? मैं सेक्टर 16। तो गाड़ी में छोड़ देता हूँ ना? गाड़ी में छोड़ देता हूँ। ऐसे जाऊँगा ना, दौड़ करने का टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है मुझे। तो दौड़ क्यों रहे हो अभी? आर्मी के लिए। आर्मी के लिए? बाप रे। क्या नाम है तुम्हारा बेटा? प्रदीप मेहरा। प्रदीप मेहरा? हाँ। और कहाँ के रहने वाले हो? उत्तराखंड, अल्मोड़ा। उत्तराखंड, अल्मोड़ा। यार सुनो, तुम सुबह दौड़ लेना, मैं तुम्हें छोड़ देता हूँ। सुबह मैं उठ के आता हूँ ना, सुबह मुझे ड्यूटी पर जल्दी जाना होता है, खाना बनाना होता है। कितने बजे? 8 बजे। कमाल है यार प्रदीप। कितनी उम्र है तुम्हारी बच्चे? 20। ईजा बाजू कहाँ चल? घर मम्मी इलाज चल मो। ओहो। तो यहाँ कहते हैं तुमसे तू? यहाँ जगह सी। हाँ? यहाँ जगह सी, मम्मी एडमिट हॉस्पिटल। मम्मी एडमिट चाहिए? हाँ। ये तो वायरल है जान, ये वायरल हो जाएगी। वायरल हो जाएगी? हाँ। कौन पहचान रहा है मेरे को? अगर वायरल होगी तो बर्बाद नहीं होने दो, गलत काम भावना कर रहा हूँ। हाँ। तो कितना किलोमीटर दौड़ लेता है? 10 किलोमीटर है, 16 से बरोदा। बाप रे। और खाना कब खाएगा? खाना बनाऊंगा घर जाके। और घर जाके बनाएगा? हाँ। चले मेरे घर चल, मैं खाना तो फिर हम लोग खाते हैं ना। रह जाएगा ना फिर? हैं? बड़ा भाई भूखा रह जाएगा ना। तो बड़ा भाई नहीं बनाएगा तो बड़ा भाई घर में, तो बड़ा भाई बना लेगा। वो ड्यूटी गया, उसकी नाइट ड्यूटी है। अरे बाप रे यार प्रदीप, तू कमाल है लड़का। यार सुन, मैं छोड़ दूं ना तुझे? मैं छोड़ देता हूँ। मेरी रनिंग बिगड़ जाएगी, फिर रोज का रूटीन है। अच्छा ठीक है, जा बेटा, ऑल द बेस्ट।
That's Pradeep. I'm so personally, I'm quite humbled to introduce Pradeep to the London audience. You know, I suppose when that video was shot and the guy said to him, it's going to go viral, like no one is going to know me. But really and truly, when I saw the video a couple of months ago, it kind of really spoke to me in different level. about what we deal with as data management practitioners or professionals. In one level, he's running every day. Another level, he's saying that, listen, if I break my routine, it's going to affect my practice. And the ambition he has just to join the army. So when I saw this video, I thought I'm going to bring it to my audience. And I was in Dubai this March, and I pretty much talked about this to the audience in Dubai, and it went really well. Now, when you think about Pradeep, when you think about yourself, you're not any different from what we do. And that's the reason why I'm really keen about today. If there's anything you're going to get out, you need to understand what would make you win and what would make you strive. And these are the key things I want to share, and I call them habits for whatever word. And what is habit? It's the things that you do without thinking about it. So Pradeep wake up in the morning, he runs to work, come back as well, without thinking about it. The pattern, those things that you repeat, what are the things that you do without thinking about it? And some of the things I'm going to talk to you this morning about are the things that you need to think about on a high level, but on a sub level as well. And so come with me whilst I talk about the first habit, the habit of team. I know most of you in the room, obviously, you work as a team, you work with other people. That's great. But the question is, do you realize that data management is a team sport? Do you realize that you can't do data management by yourself? Do you realize that actually, you just don't need a champion, you need champions if you want to succeed, if you want to strive? Do you realize that you need to pass knowledge and information? Do you realize that obviously you need to have clear goals and outcomes? Do you also realize that there should be clear leadership as well and adaptabilities, because we work in a real world? Support and resilience is something that we always often forget about, but more importantly, creativity and innovation. And finally, balance acumen. What does that mean? It means that in your team, you need to have people that have business acumen and technical acumen together. So all the stuff I've just talked about right now, I want you to reflect upon it, because if you've got a team of people and those things I've just called out, some of them are missing, I really want to encourage you to think about it. If you want to strive, if you want to win in data management, you need to have those things as well, okay? The next habit I want to share with you is the habit of change. Last night, I was having dinner with other people, some people, and I said to them, we're in the business of change management. Data management is change management. And someone like, I don't think so. And some people say, well, I don't think data management people know actually they're in the business of change management. And that's true. We are in the business of change management. And what that means is that we need to be leading change. We shouldn't be bystanders. We should have change champions. So if you've got a team of people that's working with you, you need to hear me out this morning. It's about hearts and mind. That's the reason why human psychology is very important. It's about hearts and mind. If you really want to embed, implement the strategy, the shiny new technology, whatever that is, it's about hearts and mind. You need to find a way to get the right skills and the right culture, because that really, really matters. There's a great book called Leading Change, George Coulter's book. I really recommend you to read that book if you haven't. It's a great book. It's got about 8 steps of leading change. Please grab it, read it, because it will really help you. And change for me is very important. Far too many times I see a data management professional just receiving change rather than leading change. And if that's the case, you're not going to survive, you're not going to strive, and you won't be successful as a data management professional. The next habit is the habit of trust. The way I define trust based on Rachel's Boltzmann said, confident relationship with the unknown. Far too many times in data management teams, you find the level of trust is quite low. We don't trust people. We don't trust other functions in the business. It's really, really low. And as a result, they don't trust us. They don't let us in. They don't open the wardrobe for us to see. And sometimes they just keep us in the lounge and show us the nice stuff, but they never take us to the bedroom to see where the mess are. And sometimes we think we can have technology to look for the mess. But unfortunately, when something is hidden intentionally, you might not find it as well. And that's the case with data management professional. Sometimes we're not humble. We don't show empathy. We don't want to put ourselves in people's shoes, and we want to try and solve their problem. It's not going to happen. Sometimes we're not sincere. We're not reliable. We say we're going to do this in 3 months. After 6 months, we're talking about the same thing. We're not reliable. No one is going to trust us. Integrity and commitment is very important. If you want to operate in a high trust environment, integrity and commitment is very important. Consistency and competency is very important. There's a great thing called vulnerability loop. What that simply means is if I share with you how vulnerable I am, there's a high likelihood that you would share with me how vulnerable you are. We don't use it. Why? Because sometimes we don't know it. So we go into meetings and we always sit in the strong positions rather than for us to say to people, we don't have all the answers, but we want to work with you to solve your problems. We always come to meeting as if we are the specialists, we know everything. And if you've got those attitudes and habits, I really want to encourage you to rethink it, because you're not going to strive and you're not going to win if you're a data management professional. The next habit I want to share with you is the habit of inclusive culture. And why this matters to me is because the data space is the new space. The last 15 years, 20 years, we tend to recruit people that looks like us, sound like us, have the same background. We don't really think about inclusion. Inclusion is not a myth, it's real. We don't think about inclusion leadership and teams. We don't think about why is it that we don't have females in our teams. Hold ourselves to account. Why is it that people are not applying for the job, young people? Why is it that it's only internal people that's coming to work for us and people externally can't work for us? Why? Psychological safety. We don't create that. Authenticity. We're not authentic. People don't know where we stand. People don't know anything about us. Our engagement is quite low. But more importantly, we don't accept people. We're intolerant sometimes. And as a result, we can't create this inclusive culture. And social inclusion matters as well, because think about if your social background and everyone shares a social background in your team, or that works with you and works for you, I can tell you for free that you're not going to deliver anything when it comes to data management. So I want to encourage you to take inclusion as a thing, because it matters. There's a great podcast I always listen to, Making the World Fairer. Dr. Bena is a great podcast. Please, I encourage you to listen to it, check it out. His book as well is a great book as well. He's written a lot about the topic. And really, really, I want you to improve your habit. So when you think about a team, one of the key things you need to be thinking in your mind is, how can I make my team inclusive? It's a must. It's not optional. It's mandatory. The next habit I want to talk about is the habit of social justice. What does this simply mean? I remember once I was in the train and someone said to me, "Oh, what's this?" And I said, well, it's Mental Health Awareness Week, and it's about charity for mental health. I'm like, oh, I think social justice, global justice matters. The last 36 months have taught us that what happened outside the UK can affect us massively as well. You know, a couple of summers ago, we had the George Floyd incident all the way from America, and it actually came to our doorsteps as well. Social mobility and global mobility matters. When you think about your team, do you just want to keep them in that place? Yourself as a person, do you want to make sure that people have opportunities? I always try to say to people, think about the young man or the young girl in Newcastle that have not worked in London, that really don't have all the skills, all the acumen, but is willing to do some work. Are you going to create the opportunity for that person? Think about yourself. Think about your journey as a professional. Are you part of, when I say the word public health, how do you construct your team to ensure that people actually able to be in a team that's full of health and safety, is a safe place to work? Community. Do you encourage yourself and your team to participate in community as well? Because everyone comes from community as well. Social privileges are great. You need to recognize them. And you need to recognize that people in your team or yourself as well, where your privileges, you can share your privileges to others. So when I talk about social justice, these are the things I want you to consider if you want to build the habit of social justice, because it starts with you, but also it needs to go to your team and your employer as well. The next habit I want to talk about is the habit of personal development. Learning never ends, and that's true. But unfortunately for data management professionals, we don't take personal development too serious. I always say to people, if you're in the room and you don't have team members in this room, or you don't have team members in the event, you need to think about it. Because you need to work with people that takes personal development quite serious. And you yourself need to take personal development very, very seriously. If not, you're not going to deliver data management, because things change really, really quick. You need to find mentors for yourself and sponsors. You need to help your team to find that as well. You need to create a bit of what I call psychological well-being. What that simply means is that it's not the things that are seen, but the things that are not seen that really matters as well. Some people might just not feel it, but they're in the room, but psychologically they are wounded as well. You need to find a way to identify those things and help people and help yourself and your team if you want to successfully deliver data management and if you want to strive and win. I think it needs to be mandatory as well. You need to look for the budget. Personal development is really, really important. I want you not to put personal development in the bottom of the list. So many times we do that. When we think about the yearly budget, we put personal development at the bottom. That's not the case. It should be right on the top. If you want to strive, if you want to win. The habit of collaboration is a great one. How many of you collaborate outside your industry? A show of hands. How many? I can gladly report about 10%. Data management people, we don't do that. And it's a shame. And the reason for that is because we don't understand and we've not built the habit of collaborating. You know, personally for me, my job is to ensure that I collaborate externally more than internally in my organization. Because I know my organization, but there are other things I need to learn that's out there, happening out there, that would help me solve the problems I'm being employed to solve. So we need to think about vertical collaboration. We need to think about cross-domain collaboration. We need to think about building effective relationships. We need to think about how we position ourselves to ask for help. So if you want to really build the habit of collaboration, you've got to think about these things. Because without these things, you cannot successfully deliver data management. I can tell you that. You can't strive and you can't win. Finally, the habit of communication. Empathy is a great thing. I've said that earlier. But you need to tell your stories. You need to tell your story You don't need someone to tell your story. You need to tell your story. And Scott Taylor would always say the data whisperer, data storytelling. You have to tell your story. And you need to learn how to do it. And you have to do it always. You've got to talk about the benefits and the outcomes as well. You've got to use all channels of communication and all platforms as much as you can. There's a great book called Executive Present by Xavier. I'll recommend the book as well. How you talk to senior executives, how you talk to non-senior executives as well. You have to tell your story, but finally, please, if you want to really strive and win in the data management profession, do not drop the communication ball. It's really, really important. Now, beyond knowing why, I put a quote out there that says cognitive awareness of what is right is really insufficient for you to act the right way. The fact that you know it is not enough. The fact that you know that why you need to do data management or why your organization needs to do data management is not enough. The fact that you have a data strategy is not enough. The fact that you have processes is not enough. The fact that you have technology is not enough. You've got to think about the habits that you need to build to help you and your team win and strive. So how do you do it? I call it the 3D. The first one is desire. I want to be good at this. The next one is discipline. You discipline yourself. You read the books. You expose yourself to other forms of information. The final one is that you delight in it. Those are the 3D if you really want to build a good habit to help you as a data management professional. So back to Pradeep. The first thing he did is desires to serve his country. The second is discipline. He runs 10K every day. The third one, he delights in it, he enjoys it, and he doesn't want anyone to stop him from doing it. That's how you build habits. There's no other way, and I really want to encourage you to do that. So on my final thought, I want to leave you with this. Please listen to me. Hi, Abel, Aboh. I want you to strive. I want you to win. I want you to be successful. Because far too many times, when you read stats that says about 60 to 85% of data project fails, they don't deliver the outcome. It's not good for our profession. So our confidence is eroding, and I want you to win and strive. But you need to recognize this, that people only buy for people that they trust. We're all salespeople in this room. If you're in the data management profession, you're a salesperson with the title of data engineer, data architect, whatever, data governance, whatever that is. But you're selling something. But people only buy for people that they trust. Everyone matters. Think about your team, think about yourself. Everyone matters. The list, the analyst, the CDO, the middle managers, everyone matters. Your energy flows where your attention goes, and that's true. But more importantly, you need to have balance. If you want to strive and win, you need to have balance. Balance in your team, balance in your work, balance in everything. Finally, motivation is what will get you started, but habit is what will keep you going. And I've seen this over and over again. If you want to keep going, you need to develop this habit that I've just talked about. So let me just give you a bit of recap. I talk about team, change, trust, inclusive culture, social justice, personal development, collaboration, and communication. I talk about the 3D as well. But what will this do for you? It will help you to do three things. I call them the give. It would help you to give to your employer. It would help you to give to your team or others. And it will help you to build yourself. And that's really what matters at the end of the day. It's not always about the data strategy. It's not about always the technology. And that really matters. So I'm just going to take some questions. I've got 5 minutes. But I'm going to leave you with this recommendation. These are people and books that I read. To be honest, I do read less of data books. I read more of other books that talked about human psychology, because data management is about people. So the mic is just around at the moment. If you've got any questions, I can take one or two, but I can take some outside as well. Thank you so much for listening.